Let's take a deep breath together. In through the nose, out through the mouth as you drop down into the belly. Opening through your heart, moving your shoulders back, and letting yourself arrive here in your body. Because what we're going to name today is the thing that no one tells you when you begin your healing journey. Yet it's the one thing that will finally make everything else make sense. This is the episode where we answer that question, the question that haunts every woman that's caught in this in-between place. Why hasn't healing changed my life? So let's walk straight into this. The last episode we talked about the ache. You know the ache I'm talking about. The ache of becoming a new woman on the inside, and yet waking up every day in a life built by the woman you used to be. And so we want to answer the question of like, why does this happen? Why, after all of the work that you have done, after all of the inner work, why does the outside still look the same? To understand this, we really need to begin with what healing really is. So healing as a process is the psychological and emotional return to who you are. It's meeting the parts of you that were shaped in pain. It's feeling what never had the space to be felt. And it's about revisiting the memories, the reactions, your triggers, and the shadows that shaped your earliest identities. And really allowing them to complete their cycle so that they no longer run your life. This is what healing is. Carl Jung described healing as the movement towards your whole self, a reclamation of the self that was buried under wounds, under survival roles, and inherited patterns. And this process, it changes you. It softens you, it strengthens you, and it brings you home to yourself. It makes you more grounded, more self-aware, more regulated, more truthful, more honest, and more emotionally available to yourself and to others. It makes you more connected to who you are and your inner world. And the thing is that healing gives you capacity to be with yourself, your emotions, to stay present, to feel deeply and choose truth over avoidance. But here's the part that no one tells you. Healing changes your inner world. It doesn't automatically change your external world. Because your external world, your career, your relationships, your patterns, your boundaries, your habits, your money, your decisions, these are all shaped by something different. They're shaped by your identity, specifically your survival identity. And unless your identity changes, your life won't. So why doesn't identity update automatically? So your identity is not who you want to be. Your identity is who you behave as. So your identity is the thoughts you rehearse. It's the boundaries you don't set. It's the impulses you act from, the roles that you slip into. Your identity is the emotional reflexes you default to, the self-talk you believe in, without question. Identity is the way you move through conflict and desire and opportunities. And it's the energy you shrink into and out of. So your identity is behavioral. Identity is embodied. Identity is practiced. And most importantly, identity is unconscious. It's your personality, or it's who you think you are. And the core truth is your identity running your life wasn't built by your healed self. It was built by your survival self. It was shaped in the environments where you learned to stay small, where you had to stay small to stay safe. In the moment where being small protected you, where the relationships were based around pleasing or performing, and it was how you received love. And the purpose of healing is to soften this past, but your identity will still protect it unless it's updated. And this is why you have the ache, the gap between who you are internally and how you live externally. So to give you an analogy, think of life like a house. Healing is what cleans the inside of your house. It clears the emotional clutter, it opens the windows, gives you space to breathe. But the blueprint, the architecture, the actual structure of this house, the floor plan, will remain exactly the same unless you change it on purpose. So your thoughts, your behaviors, your decisions, your emotional reflexes, your boundaries, and your patterns, they all still follow the old architectural plans, even with all your healing, which means you can feel completely different on the inside and still live a life designed by the woman you used to be. And when you get to this place and you feel that tension, the ache, the mismatch, and this resistance, most women assume they need more healing. But they don't need more healing. What they need is an updated blueprint. We need to deliberately rewrite these survival identity and patterns still running so that their external reality can finally begin to match their inner truth. And the core truth is your life hasn't changed. And it's not because you're unhealed. It's not because you're blocked. It's not because you missed a trauma. It's not because you're not spiritual enough, not disciplined enough, and not consistent enough. Your healing did exactly what it was meant to. It restored your emotional capacity. But your identity, which is your practice thoughts, your learned behaviors, your survival strategies, your decision patterns, are still making choices for you from your old self, not your healed self. And as we have just found out, identity is what creates your lived reality. It still hesitates when you want to act, shrink when you want to expand, overthink when you want to choose. Your survival identity freezes when you want to speak, protects you when you want to express, and it reaches for the familiar when you want expansion. And the thing is, none of this is failure. None of this is sabotage. And none of this is a flaw. It is simply this: your life didn't change because your identity didn't change. So there's nothing wrong with you. You're not behind. You haven't wasted your time. Your healing wasn't for nothing. Your healing did exactly what it was supposed to do. What comes next is the part that is rarely taught. And this is the part of integration. You have to integrate your healing into your lived experiences. And this means updating your identity you built to survive so it matches the healed woman you already know you are. And integration is where your healed self becomes your lived self. Your internal blueprint, so this is all your survival patterns and behaviors, matches your external world. The woman you feel on the inside finally becomes the woman you walk as on the outside. And once this happens, this is where everything begins to shift. So before we end today, I want you to hold this one question. Where does your external life still reflect the woman you used to be instead of the woman your healing made possible? And this is not to judge yourself, but it's to help you illuminate the exact places your new identity is waiting. Because she is waiting. She's already there. You just need to feel into her. And in episode 2, we're going to deep dive into your survival identities, what they are, how they're formed, and the very real ways they show up in your life, show up in your behaviors, in your reactions, and in your everyday choices. Because once you can see these patterns clearly, you can finally start making different choices. And when you do that, your external life begins to rise to match the woman you've already become. I'll meet you there in episode 2.